Hi, we're sitting cozy in a bed in San Salvador. But this morning we crossed the border from Guatemala, and this is a video that briefly explains the process and shows you what it looks like when you get to go there, so things are familiar. I know we text about it, lots of written documentation, but maybe some visuals will also help to see what you expect. Okay, so Guatemala, we have a temporary import permit, we have an entry stamp, and when you leave Guatemala, you have a choice. Well, the exit stamp is not a choice when you leave. You get that. Very easy. Go stand in line, park your car right outside the immigration space, go in, they'll get you sorted out, stamp passport, and you're done with that. Immigration is probably the easiest. Then you got to make a copy of that stamped page of your passport if you have a temporary import permit. So you go get the copy, make copies of your temporary permit, and you have two choices. One, you cancel your permit. Two, you suspend it. Suspension is a good idea because even if you don't come back, it's still okay. But if you cancel it and then you want to come back in, you got to pay the fees all over again. We checked with a guy with using translator, and he confirmed that it's better to suspend it. So we continue to keep that sticker, that registration, the temporary permit sticker on your windshield that they put in when you came into Guatemala. We continue to have it, but we're now out of Guatemala. So it's temporary suspended. And chances are, if our meetings don't work out in Guatemala, we won't go back and we can keep going. That's what we did. And then we moved on to El Salvador. What happens is next.
We just finished our immigration in Guatemala and now we're entering El Salvador.
This is no man's land, and we're heading out to El Salvador, and hopefully that should be sort of easy. And the currency used here is the US dollar. Across that bridge is El Salvador. We temporarily suspended our temporary import permit. Otherwise, we'll end up paying for it again if we decide to come back in this border, just in case we decide to. But here we go, La República del Salvador. I'm standing here at in the hallways of the El Salvador Immigration Department. At the back there, we got to go and get our passports stamped, and we're actually in El Salvador already, but getting the paperwork done. You must know that once we entered El Salvador, cross the bridge, the white ticket that we get in Guatemala needs to be given to the lady at the end of the bridge, and she checks it, everything's good, and she says you're good to go. And this is the El Salvador building for immigration, and also the temporary import permit. We're going up back to the car at the head of the bridge. So we basically came over the bridge. A lady in the white shirt there checked our tickets from Guatemala, and the guys in the blue tent check our documents for the car and then send us to the building I just showed you at the back. But there was another guy in uniform near the blue tent that I showed you for the import permit for the car. He directed us and said, go to immigration to get your stamps. So we complied. We went there, and when we got to our turn, and they looked at all the documents and asked us if I had that white piece of paper, the ticket they call, that we got from Guatemala, the exit. They looked at it and said, oh, you're good. We don't do any in-stamping here. So El Salvador doesn't require you to put an entry stamp on your passport, or they won't do it, even if you want it. We wanted it, but they said no. They just said, with that white sticker, you're good to go. So we then turned back and went back to get the temporary import permit work done. We just finished the temporary import permit for El Salvador, and the tent behind me is where they collect the documents, and that building over there puts it into the computer, gives you this, and we have to come and submit this back in this blue tent. And of course there's Globelander. Globelander was asked to park right there outside this blue tent, where the gentleman over here, they collect all the details and they send us to that building on that side over there, as you see me point. It's put into the computers, brought back over here, and then we're in the car and away. Temporary permit done. So that's the temporary import permit. We got three documents. All three need to be shown when, well, if a police stop happens. So we're on our way now, guys.